to a certain extent. Okay, so for those of you who have not participated in my open mic, this is the 1 minute remaining symbol. And then when you hear that, who the hell is playing that phone? It's me, because your time is absolutely up, and I will not turn off my phone until you're like, I'll leave the stage. Okay, so starting our opening mic, I can't even speak now. Starting our open mic is Stephanie, Elise, Freno.
About a year ago, I started writing my first book, and I'm still writing on it. And it is going to be 57 chapters. I'm nearing 1,000 pages on it already. This is from an excerpt from my book, and this is the chapter is "She is Steadfast." When the world says give up, hope whispers, try it one more time. Those who face fears courageously to try and try again possess the one trait responsible to get back: perseverance. President Roosevelt is remembered for his "the only thing we have to fear is fear itself." In the aftermath of Pearl Harbor, President Roosevelt also faced during his presidency being confined to a wheelchair from polio. One of history's greatest composers, Beethoven, wrote music even while he was totally deaf. There are many others throughout history who understood a individual's limitation is within their own mind. There are names for the different kinds of fear. Many times I've heard people say, "You are not alone." I believe this statement is probably with good intention. Their statement is made as an offer to help at that moment. I think people say such things while inside they do not really want to help. Having parents or family or even friends and acquaintances that are unsupportive can be a contributing factor of why someone develops a fear of failure. Having a traumatic and even at some point in life can also contribute to this fear of failure. I can very clearly remember having a guidance counselor in school say to me, "You will never amount to anything. You will be just like your father." I've carried this throughout my life. I wrote in chapter 11, Letter to My Daughter, as I reflect back on my life, I've had many events in my life that I've had to overcome. My little brother, whom was also named James, was killed when he was only 8 years old. I overcame a speech impediment. Yet, as I reflect, I've earned 2 associate's degrees and a bachelor's degree. I've served 25 years of honorable service in the United States Air Force, attaining the rank of Master Sergeant, and also completing my career as a medical group first sergeant. I've been to such places as the Philippines, Japan, Korea, Canada, Germany, France, Spain, Russia, the Netherlands, and Australia. I've even attended a special performance of the Story Ballet and met an ancestor of Daniel Boone. I've been a brick mason, a grocery store manager, an IRS volunteer tax rep, and even a Avon representative. Life is like a book with many chapters and many pages. As one moves forward in life, they continue to set goals for themselves and continue to turn the pages. Sometimes as the book is being read, the person undergoes a change as they move forward. So do not be afraid to face your fears. They will push you forward. The king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, was fired by the manager of the historic Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. Elvis was told, "You ain't going nowhere, son. You ought to go back to driving a truck." Of course, Elvis did not stop pursuing his dream. To me, the advice Elvis received is similar to the advice that I received from my guidance counselor. Motivational speakers and professionals often will inform their audiences about failing and getting back up. Many will say not trying is to get back up is far worse than failing. Words like persistence, determination, patience, faith, courage, all are connected when it comes to talk about failing and getting up. There's another word, courage. Many years ago, I came up on a commencement speech by Senator John McCain about courage. Failure can be, I'm going to have to skip that so I can finish this up. Resolute is another word that comes to mind as I recall a movie from the 70s that starred a young Ravi. The name of the movie was One on One. Vincent plays a wet behind-the-ears basketball star who wins a college scholarship. Henry begins to struggle in his college duties due to his shortcomings. This leads Harry to a tutor and pressure from the college coach to forfeit his college scholarship. When Harry refuses, he is soon on the receiving end of unfair treatment, being benched. The ending of the movie finds the team in jeopardy of being defeated and losing their undefeated season. When one of the players is injured during the game, Henry is inserted to the lineup and instructed by the coach not to shoot the ball. When the team behind in the score, Henry begins to defy the coaches. The look on the coach's face shows how angry he is because of Henry's defiance. Henry makes the final shot, which is the game-winning shot that preserves the undefeated season. There's a one-on-one scene at the end of the game in which the coach's demeanor and attitude towards Henry has changed. I remember this line ever since the 1975 movie, all the way up with a red-hot poker. I can play anywhere. As I think of this movie, I think of the words stated earlier: persistence, determination, patience, faith, and courage. To me, this movie displayed each of these. Henry still refused to quit. He refused to give up on his dream. He remained true to himself and values as well as remaining steadfast.
Linda Master.
Thank you. This is my first time to do this.
Yay.
Character relations. If you look deep into it, you'll see the heart. There's always one in there, said my master, as I gazed into the cold black stone object I held in my hands. My master is from a long line of yogis, wise, profound, elusive, somewhat cold like the object I clutch in my hand, but actually a warm, vibrant human being. Knowing, intuitive, compassionate, loving, and yet I feel this distance from him. After all, and that is how it should be, after all, I am the student, and he is the master. As I gaze into his eyes and I contemplate the meaning of his words to me, I realize this object, this cold stone, is now warm, coming alive from my touch. I am beginning to see the heart within. It's taking a shape, my heart, my vulnerability. Do I want to learn to touch another human being as the touch of my hand has warmed this object? Or do I want to remain cold and aloof, as when I first encountered this stone? And how did I come upon this enigma? Did the master choose it for me among the many objects he held out in front of me? Or was I somehow drawn to it by some cosmic force, some hidden agenda unknown to my conscious self, but a magnet for my subconscious or collective unconscious, as Jung described? Compelled to be drawn to it like some universal force. It's all about the heart, isn't it? The intellect is a mask, a way to close off the heart, to weaken it, to subjugate it. The master smiles at me warmly, knowing I am contemplating all of the complexities of this simple object in front of me. And I'm making too much of this? My mind sways from one meaning to the next. Or is it simply a stone, an object, a matter, an energy, and its warmth is a reflection of my warmth as I transfer my body heat to it? Is that what the master is asking me to do? Transfer my warmth, my aliveness to another human being? I look again into his knowing eyes, and I realize I have time to hold this thought in my hands and in my body. When the time is right, the transference will occur. It is inevitable.
Ananyaa, Ravi.
Hey everyone, this is also my first time, and I did write on the roulette topic, which is wildest dreams, I believe. A hush of quiet as I bend over backwards and sideways to accommodate the waves of closing riptide, falling over unshores and through seasons waiting in enthralled nascent cocoon, letting out wails and questions in quick precision. One strike, you're gone. No, it's three. Hush. The world has forgotten there existed another one before it. Before it was cool. And yeah, no kidding, for it used to be warm and the lava grew and collapsed and condensed, pulling civilization out of its breath and breaks the silence. Roots growing and building cans of fever from a single cell that looks like it might want to know more of you, more of your secrets, your troubles, the source of squabbles and quibbles, and what it is you feed your cat, kibbles. And they nibble, I scribble truth and loneliness, and my hand won't write what my mind can't think, what won't be told, unspeakable. About a certain kind of truth, a mind in a moment of weakness, morningside, might ask it of you. Sometimes, waking, I see horses that are concerned, that want you to go to college and apply to that job, who worried that your visa might expire. You could apply a visa, sell your skills to the highest bidder, fill out the sponsorship requirements, and talk to lawyers who are waiting like goats in the periphery, always just out of sight. That girl in your class 3 years ago, she hears you when you sleep. She's great. She looks like she got a facelift. She's 53 and lives in your brother's apartment and cultivates raccoons in garden pots that have huge leaves, monstera plants that have degrees in graphic design. And your mom called and she asked, when is graduation?
Donna, Dechen, Birdwell.
Hey, Donna! Sorry, I have to use the thing. I thought I was going to read something from my latest novel because it has so many dreams in it, but then I thought, I'm going to see if I have any poems about dreams. So I found one, and then I found another one I like. So here we go. I dreamed that I was given a gift by a llama dressed in burgundy and saffron. He said nothing. He just gave me the ring, a large ring engraved with an elaborate image. Trees, a forest with a great canopy, hunters on horseback, arms raised, wielding spears. Their quarry, a herd of gazelles with backswept horns, leaping into the forest. I tried hard to remember them as deer, more proper inhabitants of forests, but they were gazelles. Running at the gazelles from the other side, bears. Great heads thrust forward, mouths open, teeth bared. What nonsense. Gazelles in the forest? Bears attacking gazelles? I tried to forget about it. But the image lingered. Then a question emerged. Which one are you? Hunter? Gazelle? Bear? And the answer came swiftly and without hesitation. Trees. Yeah. Trees standing steadfast as one, being trees while all this aggression and kinetic violence played out. Hunters pursuing their goals, quarry fleeing in fear, guardians defending their territory against trespass. That is what we do. We pursue, we flee, we defend. Be a tree. Stand steadfast amid turmoil, holding space for everything. So here's the other one, and this one I may have read this before, but I like it, so here we go. There's a place at the intersection of sadness and consummate joy called the Blues. I've built a house there. I don't live there, spending most of my time up one street or down another. I've tried painting the rooms of other houses with the brush used on my corner house, but I never seem to get it right. Always a little too bright or a little too somber. My house at the corner is always full of musicians, or their music after they've moved on, and poets. A few artists have left paintings there. I feel more alive in this house than anywhere else, even when I'm alone, even when there's a crowd of friends or strangers. Everybody's welcome here. This poem needs another line or two for resolution, but there is no resolution for the Blues.
Edith Blackbird.
Hi everyone. This poem, the name is Under Fire, and it was part of a ekphrastic, did I say that right? Ekphrastic challenge, when we write something about a painting. I truly enjoyed that, and it was a really beautiful painting. So, explore her belly with soft sleeves, while she moved, squeezing her ribs. Taste the tenderness of true bliss, battle of fire into the hips. Shocks of pleasure possess the spine, let them be divine. Fantasies collapse in your mind. Kiss her, touch her, you both shine. Slow, my child, slow. Don't forget to glow. Moist her inner flow, dance, turn, caress, show. Believe in me, children of mine. I'm the master, I'm the mother, I'm all combined. Wiser, ancient, the morning sign, the unknown beyond the line. Listen to the sacred dark. Keep the battle and free the spark. Skin sealed with your stubborn mark. Go deep into the fleshy dark. Feast on, creature of the night. Use your animal instinct under the moonlight. Call the love goddess into the light. Staring at the above, I'll bless the fight. No blood, no corpses, no wounds behind. The war of passion for those to find. A melody of nature, sweet and kind. Without the pain and prisoners confined. Mercifully bite the shame. Ask the time, don't claim. I will stop for you to inflame. The burst of nirvana to blame. Dear offsprings, go, fly. Reach the deadly high. I'll protect your spirits, your life. I can't wait to see you on the other side. The flames, I see the flames in revolution, the horizon mortal illusion, the dead revert the evolution, nor ego inside, neither confusion. The three of us under fire, love in the battle of desire, healing the madness, going higher, smiling and crying in the wild. You are my creatures, innocent and alive. I'm the master, the mother, and all combined. Wiser, ancient, the morning sign, the unknown beyond the line. This one is a little more rebellious. It says, I can't believe you say that. What do you see? What are you looking at? You don't get it. I was written by your judgment. Now I'm here, half woman, torn by the fight with the unknown teeth. He took my dignity for a couple of hours. I took him inside involuntarily. And he was inside, like the wild bastard he was. He says, slut, whore, bitch. and I was just mute by his hand, allowed to scream a bit between his fingers. So I tried to live on one more night, that fatal night. I wish my body to get numb, but I feel every painful detail, the bites, the pulling hair, all single form of punishment had demonstrated me how twisted and rotten he was inside. He smelled like perversion of a lord in the past. He showed me how corrupted he was. The remorses were in his pocket, maybe on those pants next to my damaged body, and they still say, I can't believe you say that. Right in front of the crowd, with a desperate, flickering voice, I shouted out of my warrior reddish chest the yell of survivor and justice, the denial of my flourished skirt and human moves. Now my eyes breaking through, turning the heat to punish the hate and get higher than him. Thank you.
Brent, Crosson.
No applause for me. I want to thank Eith and Thom, the world poet, and all the people that I don't know yet that came and read before me. And I liked your poem too as well, especially. Thank you. So I'm going to read a few childhood poems and one adult poem to end. The first one is called Fire Blanket. It was the first day of school, and I no longer needed you, because I had pulled my tube socks up to my knees, determined to brave the gaze of other boys, to leave my mother at the classroom door, holding you folded in her arms, the blue blanket I'd surrendered that morning without a goodbye. But by lunchtime, I'd forgotten the combination to my father's hand-me-down briefcase lunchbox, so I stared at the ceiling with an empty stomach during nap time and listened hungrily to the words of a dog with a red fire hat set above his sad eyes, informing us of the importance of an escape plan. That night, I drew and drew dotted lines that sprang from my bed to the open window, where I'd hang long enough to consider the distance to earth, imagine myself on fire, rolling in the grass, as my mother runs with blue between her arms outstretched to smother me. That's called Fire Blanket. This one's called The Knot. My father's eyes are ovals, spectacles that reflect back the grayness of the day, and are streaked with rain that isn't grief. It isn't grief that streaks the pains. The windows of our house are bulging, and the voices that argue, that push each other like warm fronts against the season's border, are lifting us up off the foundations. My father's asleep through all this, breathing open-mouthed breaths that fog the pain through which I'm trying to decipher from inside the rain the hands that rose and fell on his chest, the hands that drew the laces tight, the hands I watched with reverence, trying to learn the knot. This one's called In the Parking Lot. Under the camper top in the bed of a pickup truck, intertwined with crickets, the street light that illuminates the oaks is hazy as memory. The haze stacked in bales, the smell of mown fields is in your hair. The tires on gravel twist their axles in the parking lot by the lake. Your lips are small and salted with words like the divorce of birds from dew and the crisp leak of dawn at the horizon's lips. The crew of cranes in the waking hours overhead. I whisper in your ear, the cranes, can you hear, can you? This is the last one. This is the adult poem. It's called Climate Protest. It's too hot to walk to the climate protest, even though it's almost October. This is I read this before, but it's obsolete because it's too cold. Well, today's actually nice. This is we have a little window of 2 weeks or something. So it's too hot to walk to the climate protest, even though it's almost October. Near 100, no shade at rush hour, which is when the cars slow down enough to get our message. I try to park in a shady spot and walk the 2 blocks to the interstate overpass where we're dropping the bed sheet banners. The real Amazon doesn't come with a free trial, is what mine says, but the wind blows it up in our faces, and in that moment there is a moment of relief from the sun under the bed sheet. Someone forgot the weights again, and as hard as we try, the words won't unfurl. The hot wind blowing down the dry channel of the interstate won't let us be legible. So even though the cars crawl along at a near stop, a mass audience of glass windshields, each with a single American inside them, we get no honks, no middle fingers, only a lack of recognition. Well, this isn't working, the man holding the other end of our banner says, and we decide to call it a day. You need a ride? I ask him. No, I drove, he says. So each of us enter the rush hour alone in our cars. Rachel Palmer. Is that no, that's Laura Palmer, sorry. No, he drove, we all drove. So each of us enter the rush hour in our cars alone, except there's too much traffic for me to get across town, so I drive 4 blocks to a cafe and sit directly beneath an air conditioning vent. They are playing soft 80s rock, and as one song ends, there's an opening in which the entertaining music from the kitchen comes through, in which the white noise of the air conditioning's labored exhale fills the space between breaths before the next song silences reality's protest. Thank you.
Dream dancing. Her eyes were made of silver, fingers all golden, face was full of fire, hair a nest of wonder. Her skin a pale whiteness, her speech a river's depth, her movements like a dream slow-motion dancer. Now her actions were mysterious, full to the brimming depths, her age could not be guessed at, no, her knew her name. With no values, only actions, with no values, only love, she would creep into our dreaming, spill her words into our life, and our eyes are made of silver, fingers turning golden, faces catch the fire, as we become a dancer, as we become a dancer, as we become a dancer, as we become a dream. Close your eyes and start to dream. Kings and queens of the past parade in front of your eyes. Memory starts a tape recording the soundtrack of the movie you've seen so often before, flashes in the colours of your mind. The images collide like circus in the streets of the city of night. Colours flash and all you've ever seen becomes a dream. The dream will come like the dancer of night to spin in front of your eyes, like a lily down the lake of night spins faster and faster. And you in your dream, and we in ours, spin messages in the night of sounds. It's cool, you just might be surprised. I thought that I was made of feathers. I found the truth, you said it was lead. I thought that I would live forever till I found my senses told me they were dead. Now stories feel like moonbeams on my shoulder and I scream out, please help me in the night. No one's there, I'm talking to my pillow, but I keep thinking things will be all right. Now you might say, I really have no hope for me, but all I do is try and sing out loud. And if I find there's really someone listening, then I'll rush outside into that crowd. Now, I don't mind if time leaves me alone, and I hope to believe in what's really true. If there's no hope, then find me hoping. If nothing's moving, find me something to move. I have no hopes beyond that hoping. I have no dreams beyond this dreaming man. So in this voyage lies intrinsic meaning, and when I travel, I find out where I am. Now, if all these words don't mean much to you, and you think that poems are simply lies, just walk out on that highway. Just walk out there tonight, and you might find you just might be surprised.
Thank you so much for everybody who came out. Our next roulette is going to be December 8th, and the theme is Contemplation Creations.
Good.
Contemplation Creations. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you then.